Okay, so here's some tips and tricks how to drift. So you're gonna want to pick a rear wheel drive car. You could pick any front wheel drive if you really want and convert it to rear wheel. So anything that's rear wheel will do. In this instance, I got this Fairlady Z, uh, 350Z, whatever, 2003. All these ones with the hearts are my drift cars that I have set up. My favorite one is the 240SX. But the Fairlady Z stock you can get sideways, but let's go ahead and. Oh, I'm already in the car. Okay. So, go to upgrades and tuning, custom upgrade. Um, I put the wide body. No, we'll keep that stock. What we'll do, you're gonna want some power. Um, I'll just do a single turbo. Um, you're gonna want some power. The wheels will just leave stock. That way it gets not as much grip, but we can get it sideways easier. You're gonna want a race transmission so you can tune the gearing, and also limited slip diff. That allows you to set the differential acceleration and deceleration, which helps braking. So you can get the drift suspension. It's already tweaked to how you want it. Um, you're gonna want anti-roll bars, and also I recommend doing the roll cage, just because it stiffens up the whole car and makes it more responsive. But in this case, we'll just do the basic, just the frame. And then you're definitely going to want it to be light, so you don't have to put as much power into the engine. You're going to want at least 500 horsepower, usually more. Makes it a lot easier to drift. So maybe I'll get it up to 600. Yeah, 596. And what we'll do is a flywheel, so the engine's a little bit more sensitive to accelerating and decelerating and all that good stuff. Um, you're going to want to drive it before you tune it. Just kind of see how it handles. I've been drifting a long time, so I know how to tweak it just right. But what we'll start out is you're going to want a manual transmission with a clutch. I have a weird controller setting. I think it's 12, number 12 layout. So you can see I'm just kind of feathering the throttle, and I'm getting sideways in second gear. When you see, I held in the e-brake, but when I hold in the e-brake, I also hold in the clutch. So that way it doesn't bog down. You do clutch kicks like that, help it get sideways. See, this thing is already ripping without any tuning or anything like that. So if you just do exactly what I just did on this car, you'll be all right. You can see here I hold the e-brake, because if you just do the e-brake, see how it bogs down. So to get sideways, you kind of want to pull in the clutch and the e-brake, get it sideways, gun it. A lot of counter steering. If you can see my front tires, whoops. When you get sideways, you want to counter steer. You're going to want to counter steer to the opposite direction, but if you want to stay sideways, you can go in the direction that you want to go. See, I ripped the e-brake there just to keep you sideways a little bit longer, and like I said, feathering the acceleration. Some tuning you can do is the differential. If you put it at 100, it's going to just want to peel out right off the bat. The lower you put it, the less torque, I guess, goes to the wheels. The deceleration is when you let off the throttle, how much it'll slow down, and I like to keep that 100 because it helps you have controlled drifts. So when you're going real fast and you start spinning a little bit too much, when you let go of the throttle, it'll actually brake on its own without using the actual brakes. So that helps with controlled drifts. If you have a lot more power, you can keep this a little bit lower, but like I said, I always like the deceleration to be all the way up. It helps with controlled drifts. The downforce, if you do have any adjustments here, if these are unlocked, you're going to want it all the way to speed. You're not going to want cornering because that's not going to help with drifting. So in this case, I don't have any downforce or anything like that, so we don't have to worry about that. Basically, to drift, you're going to want a soft front suspension and a harder rear suspension. Soft front suspension helps throw the rear a little bit better, and with the rear being stiff, it helps it stay sideways. I don't know, it makes it more responsive. It just works. The roll bars, this is important. You're going to want this all the way soft. This helps you from spinning around. If you're spinning around in drifts and you can't really control them, check your anti-roll bars. If they're stiff in the front, that could be why. This really helps with understeering. So this car was pretty much good right off the bat, but some things you could do to also help you spinning out is toe out the front. That helps when you're counter steering a little bit more. You have more of a angle, more of a field to counter steer. So we don't really have to do that. Sometimes you could toe in the rear if you're not staying in drifts, if you're not staying sideways. And like I said, towing the front out helps with the turning and all that. Gearing, I am mostly in third and fourth. So what I like to do is keep third and fourth pretty big, put it more towards the speed, and that helps with that. You don't have to mess with the gearing, that's a whole nother aspect, but when you've been doing it as long as I've been doing it, it helps a lot. So, see how third gear is a little bit wider now. I can get a little bit more controlled. So, like this is a tight turn, so you're going to want it in a lower gear. Bigger turns you're going to want in a higher gear. If it's a tight turn, obviously lower gear. But like I said, when you tweak the gearing, and you can control basically how wide the gears are, and when you get good, you can feather it and basically control out the size of the turn and all that good stuff. So those are some of the basics. I hope I covered everything. I don't think I really did, but good luck. And I'll post another one if this one didn't turn out too good.